Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Better Together Facebook Live show. I am your host, Barb Roos, and this is a Better Together weekly Facebook Live show where we talk about our hopes, our dreams, our worries, and even our waistlines. And it doesn't matter where you come from or what you've been through. Here at the Better Together Facebook Live show, my friend, this is where we find the hope, the help, and some great practical next steps so that we can all get better together. And it's been an extraordinary week in the life of being here in America. And so tonight I am excited to talk with one of my dearest girlfriends about what you and I need to refocus, to reclaim our center. We've been through a lot. And so tonight is about recalibrating ourselves and finding out, how do we get back to the healthy place where we need to be, that place that helps us focus and listen on God. And so I'm going to introduce you to tonight's guest in just a moment. And if you've been a part of the Better Together Facebook Live show, you know how much I love hearing from you. So please jump in the comments and say hello. Just give me a shout out. Tell me where you're at, how you're doing, all of the things. And if you've tuned into the show before, you might be wondering why this background looks a little different. Well, it's because I'm not at home, girls. This week, I am staying at the Cedar Lake Ministries Bible Camp. I am here in Indiana. I taught at their women's retreat this past weekend, and I'll also be teaching here this weekend. And they have graciously hosted me, and I've got all kinds of folks who are trying to take care of me. So it's been a blessing. That also means that Wi-Fi wise or cell signal wise, we are praying for a technology problem-free show. So I would love for you to join me in that prayer. So this evening, Missy Poole Benton, thank you for jumping in and saying hello. I'm so glad that you joined us this evening. And ladies, whether you're watching live or on the replay, I'm so glad that you are coming in for this Better Together Facebook Live. And speaking of things just doing together, oh my goodness, girls, I have a sale to tell you about. So if you have been with me for a while in my community, you know I love a good sale. So before I bring our guests out and we bring some good stuff for your heart, I want to tell you about something that's good for your pocketbook. So earlier today, I discovered completely by accident that Amazon is running a 3-for-2 sale. So my Joshua Bible study, as well as my new surrender devotional on Amazon right now, they are buy three, get one free, or buy three and get two free. I think I have a typo there. I think it's buy three for the price of two. Sorry about that. I just looked at that. I was like, I don't think that's right. But you can buy three and for the price of two, and it'll be free shipping. So if you have a friend who has worry and anxiety, and then you have another friend that has worry and anxiety, this is a great time to get the Joshua Bible study for them. This is a 6-week Bible study that gives you an opportunity to do a deep study of God's word with tons of practical tips that will help you win your worry battle. And so when you buy two or when you buy three, you get the third one free. Then you can gift that to another friend. So again, I'm sorry for the typo there, but Amazon, it is buy three for the price of two. I don't know how long this sale lasts. I'm just telling you about it today. So you can go on over to Amazon and you can check that out. And that is something that I hope is a blessing to you as well as those in your life. So let me go ahead. Speaking of blessing, is I'm going to introduce you to someone who has been a critical blessing in my life. And I want to read her introduction because this is what you should know about her. And then I'm going to tell you why she's an incredible blessing. So tonight, our guest is Susan Seay. She has a highly engaging podcast called Mentor for Moms. She'll tell you about that in a moment. Hugely popular podcast. She's also the author of The Intentional Parent, Parenting on Purpose When Life Gets Busy. As a wife and mom to 7 kids, 7, that's 2 hands right there. Susan understands the challenges of trying to raise kids in a noisy and distracted world. Her mission is to help families create a culture in their homes that is on purpose and full of purpose. It's what Susan refers to as intentional parenting. Her commitment to being a mentor for moms has given her the opportunity to share with women, both locally as well as internationally, with women all over the globe. She's brilliant at it. And every time Susan speaks is to provide encouragement and helpful practical tools. So, my friends, that's the stuff you should know about Susan. But I can tell you, for me personally, Susan has been an encouragement. My surrender devotional, you guys, if it wouldn't been for Susan, that book probably would not have gotten written. So Susan walks the talk. She knows how to encourage. She is an incredible woman of faith. We have enjoyed many hours on walks together. She lives in Texas. I live in Ohio. And she's been on the Better Together Facebook Live show several times before. But tonight, we need her again. So please welcome my friend, Susan Seay.
Hey!
Hey! We need you, my friend. Welcome back.
I'm so glad to be here with you because when we hang out, we always have a good time.
We do. And everyone gets to now have a good time with us.
Yes. Yes.
We need you. We need your heart and we need your wisdom. And so tonight we're going to talk about this concept you have called reclaiming center. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But first, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, one thing that's in the moment is I'm having my own personal summer. I have heard of these before, but I guess I have reached that age where I am so hot and everyone else in my house is looking at me like we're fine. And I'm the only one that's like fanning myself. So if you guys see me pull this brown envelope up, it's just I'm trying to cope with the personal summer. But beyond that, I live here in Austin, Texas with my college sweetheart, Ron, and we keep the full life of raising 7 kids and homeschooling them. And this is our year 20 of homeschooling. And we have our own real estate business. And so that keeps us hopping and busy and managing employees and all that. But life over here is overall really good. It's just really hot in this seat where I am right now. So that's me. And I see that. Yeah, Texas heat doesn't help, Amy. You're exactly right. I didn't need any assistance with this personal summer that I'm having. I was excited about the cooler weather what we're having here. It's been delightfully beautiful weather here in Texas, but we tend to go from hot summer to like freezing cold, and then we're back hot. Like we don't really get a spring and we don't really get a fall. So we cope, and I'm coping tonight.
Wonderful. And what I love about you coping is you totally went with it because I had to do a little technology rigging. So my fabulous producer left Susan kind of going on her own while I was trying to get myself together. So
if a mom of 7 doesn't know how to wing it, I don't know who does. Okay. So
absolutely. I knew you would be cool. And I knew there would be a moment where Susan's like, I'm going to have to keep talking.
True.
Well, so I love Amy Dossie said that she needs to find your podcast. And what I love is, Amy, you are in Texas right there with Susan. And so can go to Susan, friends. You can go to susanseay.com. And there you will be able to connect with her Mentor for Moms podcast. And you can listen to all of the past episodes. They are there. And so you can just binge listen one right after another. And this week, I think I saw this week is you talked about delegating.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Can you get just a tidbit on this new episode on delegating?
Oh, I'm glad you brought this one up. I cannot tell you. I think that people might not truly believe me when I say I get so excited about the stuff I teach. And this week is definitely that. for those who are getting used to the podcast is basically my love for business and entrepreneurship, and me pulling tools out of the business world and showing moms how they can manage their homes with some of the same tools and principles that work in the business world. So I really want to elevate that call of motherhood. I really want to give moms that charge that motherhood is so much deeper and wider and more impactful than just cooking meals and making sure everybody's dressed and, making their way to their activities. That we really have this opportunity as moms to infuse a sense of purpose in our kids and to also step into a place of leadership in that mom role. So with delegating, we're talking this week about understanding that to have this idea that either I'm a good mom, I'm just not good at it, that we break that and we say, we're not talking about that anymore. That I like for us to think of motherhood as a set of skills. And when we think of it as a skill, then we're just saying, where are there some skills that I need to develop in order to meet the needs of my family? And one of the skills that I'm equipping you with this week is delegation for those mamas who feel like their plates are overflowing. If we didn't think our plates were full before 2020, 2020 came along and just dumped on the moms. And I want to say there's a way and a skill around delegation. It's bigger than what I thought it was, which is just kind of open the door and yell for somebody to get something done and then to kind of shut the door and hope it got done. Rinse, repeat.
Right. Yes, I love it. And what I love is that you always model. I actually am putting that comment right there in the chat, but you model what you teach, and you have such a wise way of just teaching your kids. And it is such a beautiful way of instructing them. And so I wanted to put up what you just said. We don't have to judge ourselves as moms anymore. What are the skills that I need to develop to meet the needs of my family? Like that is so good, so powerful.
Mm-hmm. And so needed, because I think moms can be so incredibly hard on ourselves. So I just want to come along, rub your back, and then say, here, try this.
That's beautiful. Well, I'm so glad that you have that try this mentality. So before we get into the Reclaiming Center, would you be willing to try a game with me?
Always, man. I love an adventure.
Good. Well, and ladies, if you're in the comments, you can play along as well. We're going to play our weekly round of First Thing to Mind. And the first thing to mind means that, Susan, I'm going to give you 2 words, one at a time, and you are going to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. And ladies, you can play along as well. The door to my room just came open.
I must say, I'm sitting here like, ma'am, I don't like that for you.
And also, I was trying not to let the audience see the fact that I'm business up top, but I'm party on the bottom. I'm still in my workout clothes.
Of course, that's what happened on the show when I'm here. And I'm already trying to hold it together and be professional with you.
And as soon as the door opened, I was like, should I just swing open so I don't have to let anybody see my workout clothes? Bless it. Amy Dossie said that she is still in her pajamas. And so, Amy, I'm glad that you are grooving with us. I mean, I almost let the door just swing open.
Oh, I was not having it. Okay, so as a female, I'm like, we cannot just have doors at night fly open like this.
I know. Okay, so first thing that comes to mind. Woo! All righty. So, Susan, the first word is birds. First thing that comes to mind.
Alfred Hitchcock.
That's true. That's true. Audience, you can go ahead and chime in for you. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you see birds? Now, Susan, did you see the movie Birds, or is it more of like just something you've been exposed to?
No, I think I've got one of my girls is a writer and she's writing a story. And so her question she's been asking the family today has been like, if you were to die in a zombie apocalypse, how would you want to die? And I just thought, what kind of question? What story are you writing? So I think I'm now in this mode of thinking through what is it like to write a story around this kind of stuff, and people who write fictional stories that have all of this death and mayhem and darkness. And so you said birds, and I'm like right back there with her. So that's what happened.
Makes sense. Well, and let's see who we got. So we got a couple of comments. So who do we have? I think somebody said, yep, Cardinal,
Mhm,
which is a good guess.
mhm.
And wait, and so Amy followed up with another comment about I don't. Thank you for going with us on this. Okay,
Please.
so
Mhm.
Susan, the
Yeah.
second word for
Yes.
first comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Bacon.
Oh, come on. And eggs. I mean, just yes.
Just makes doesn't when you see bacon, doesn't it just make your heart feel happy?
Mm. I mean, I make some good deviled eggs too, and I break up bacon and I put bacon in the top of the deviled eggs. Oh man. And I only allow myself to make that during the holidays. So guess what's coming this family's way?
Yes. Oh yes. Okay, audience. And so Amy, thank you for jumping in. Amy
Yes.
said that she thinks of eggs. Yes. But
Mhm.
bacon on top of deviled eggs. I
Oh,
deviled eggs and I love them. So
mhm.
I think yes, and in Texas, bacon goes with yes.
Everything.
I may
Mhm.
have to try that when I get home.
Oh, tip for you, like, put it in there. Mhm.
Okay, so we could be on bacon all day. Let me get over to what we need to talk about today, because we do need to get to this idea of reclaiming center
Mhm,
because so much has been happening in
mhm,
our world, so much has been happening with us.
mhm.
So, and when we're talking about reclaiming center, Susan, um, what is it for you? How did this how do you define the concept? And why is it an important conversation for right now?
Mm. I think that we have entered into 2020 with all the cute phrases, right? 2020 is going to be the year of clarity, and this is 2020, and this will be our year to make a mark. And instead, I think 2020 came along and made a mark and left a mark on our hearts, our souls, our minds, our memories, and it will never be forgotten for all that has happened this year. But I think the gift that's wrapped up in so much of what we've been experiencing is that it's an invitation for us to get really clear on where have we aligned ourselves, and maybe some of that alignment is out of tune, maybe it's a misstep for us, maybe it is an opportunity for us to do some course correction. And I am just wanting us to have a conversation tonight because I'm in the thick of it. This is not something I'm like, I'm on the other side and here's how I reclaim center. It's more of a phrase that just keeps marinating in my mind for me to keep asking myself, am I living in alignment with what God is calling me to and what He wants for me?
Yeah. And this idea of alignment, like for me, I think about Jesus when he says you should love God with all of your heart, all of your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. That's alignment. But
Mhm,
you said 2020 has really done a job in leaving a mark on us.
mhm,
How do we know when that our lives are out of alignment? I think
mhm.
intuitively we feel it, but what
Yes.
are some markers that tell us we're off and we need to get it together?
Oh, yeah. There's all we're surrounded by flags that are waving, like, invisible flags that are waving, and so I love being able to point them out for you. So if you, in your body, let's get in touch with your body. If you sense that things have changed for you, your sleep habits are way different than they used to be. Your food digestion is not like it used to be. Maybe your appetite is up. Hello, snack eating comfort foods. That's the thing that we talk about, the secret stash of the chocolates, that kind of thing, kind of taking more dips than we usually do. Maybe your appetite goes away. Some people, when they're stressed and when they're burdened and when they're frustrated, they lose their appetite. Like they just don't eat like they used to, which has all kinds of effects on the ways in which our bodies function. Another way that this shows up is in our emotions. Like we may be more agitated or irritated or quick or snappy or snippy, depending on how you might define that for yourself. We find that our emotions, we might find ourselves crying on a dime when we're not used to being a crier, or feeling like we used to be more engaging and wanting to be with people, and we've pulled way back and we're quiet and more isolated and alone. It could show up in a myriad of ways, but it could show up in your body, it could show up in your emotions, it could show up in your relationships, where you just find that there's tension where you didn't used to have it. There's a lack of even a desire to work through some things. You're just kind of like, listen, this is how I am, and that's just how you are. Instead, before, you used to want to work it out, find a compromise. So those are just a few of the areas that come to mind. On those are the things that we want to look for to say something's off here.
And when you are, for you personally, as you have gone through the year and you've sensed, have there been some places where you have felt out of alignment? Tell us about for you.
Oh, absolutely. I have felt like 2020 has been a personal reckoning for me. It's been this moment for me of saying, well, things are happening all around. They're happening around to all of us. Yet there's a place that I am supposed to stand and be. And this is a place that I'm supposed to own, but I don't feel like I'm doing that. Instead of feeling like I am standing still and watching God be God, I felt like I was in an earthquake and the ground was shaking and I was just kind of falling to the left and falling to the right. And one day I'm like, God's got this. He's all in control. And the next day I'm like, I don't even know what we gonna do. We can't find toilet paper. We can't find rice. We can't find cleaning supplies. This is a mess. Like, so I'm just kind of back and forth. And the alignment is not about that outward so much as it is going in deep and getting that security and that peace restored deep down on the inside.
Ooh, that's so good. So good. That alignment is it's going in deep and having it be restored, letting God do the work. Ladies, if you're listening, I would love to hear from you. One of our questions for tonight is, what has been hard for you?
Hmm.
What out there has been hard for you, particularly the last few weeks?
Mhm.
And you're welcome, ladies, to share as much or as little as you would like. And I want you to just share your thoughts. And Susan, part of some of our struggle with getting back in alignment is we think that we have to do the work ourselves.
Mhm.
And so, how do we get back into alignment, but do it in such a way that's allowing God to work through us? What does that look like?
Mhm. I think that what is interesting about getting back into alignment is it's simpler than we think, but it's not easy. And I want to take those things apart because people could feel like, well, why is it that I'm struggling? Why am I having such a hard time? Why is it that things are difficult for me? And I want to be in alignment, but it's just, I'm not getting there or I'm not sure how to do it. And I just want to say that it's simple in that, trusting God is a simple concept, right? Doing it when life feels like it's falling apart, not so easy, right? But alignment looks like being still. And this has been my part of my journey, a big part of my journey in 2020. I had major surgery this year. I have been in the hospital this year. I have had all kinds of health issues and challenges this year that have required me to sit in a recliner. And I thought, trying to over spiritualize it, oh, yeah, this would be a perfect time for me to be still with the Lord. This is what I'm going to do. But I recognized that being still is so much more than just your body not moving. That being still is being able to get to a place of settling your mind, settling your emotions, relinquishing your will, and trusting God's will. Like all of that is part of the being still and know that I am God. And it is a journey. And it can start with physically being still. If you are a go, get her done, make it happen kind of a woman like I am, sit down. Start there. find a seat and have a seat, right? But recognize that's just a start.
Hmm. And I want to capture that. I typed out what you just said, that being still is more than your body, than just your body not moving. That being still is, it's about relinquishing your heart, your mind, your body, your soul and will. Like there's just something about that that's so powerful. And as you were sitting in that chair and struggling with that idea of being still,
Mhm.
what did that journey look like for you to try to fight for that stillness?
Mm. It was first a step, the first step of all of it was me acknowledging that um, I thought I'm still, this is good enough. And then I would recognize my mind going, ah, man, I need to get this done. And this is not happening. And I can't get up and make it happen. And nobody is coming in my room so I could tell them to do it. Hello, delegation, back there again. And I just would, all my mind would be running with this list of all the things I want to get done and all the things that I'm not able to do. And that would just send me in this negative downward spiral of thoughts where now all that I can think about is like I'm just in this funk of a complaining, whining spirit is just like all over me. And I'm not physically moving, but my will and my emotions and my mind are running at 100 miles an hour or more. And when I began to acknowledge that, I was able to then capture those thoughts, right? And to bring them under subjection, to bring them back and to say, it's time to rein those thoughts in, Susan. Like you've let them run, like somebody threw the gate open and the dogs just took off, right? And like you need to bring those thoughts back and say, this is the place for them. We rest on truth. We rest on what's good. We rest on what's honorable. We rest on those good things.
Woo! That is so good, because our thoughts, we are able to, we're in charge of which thoughts we allow to land on us. But I love how you said that. Say that again. We rest on what's good,
Mhm,
what's true,
mhm.
what
What's honorable, what's peace giving, like what's life giving. We need to rest on those things instead of all of the other thoughts that just lead us into more worry and doubt and this sense of um, with all the things that I need to make happen right now. Another part of that too, let me please say this, is that being still, it really gives you a sense or a real connection to the fact that God's timing is the perfect time. Because for us, the perfect time is always right now. When do I want patience? Right now. Like when do I want my finances fixed? Right now. When do I want my family member saved? Right now. And God says, "Hey, I got a time. I've got a plan, and my plan is good." And when you rest, you come into an agreement with God. Your timing is perfect.
Beautiful. Well, I love that we had some comments. We've got Finian who's watching us live on YouTube. And so Finian says, blessings and gratitude for Better Together with Susan. I love it. Robin Holly, thank you for joining us. Robin was saying yes to everything that you were picking up and putting down this evening, Susan. Uh, Letitia, thank you for joining us. She was talking about being still. And so, Susan, when we think practically, you
Mhm.
talked about allowing our mind and thoughts to rest on what's good and what's honorable and what's lovely. Is there anything else practical that we can do to help ourselves in that resting on what's good process?
Mm, yes. So part of what I teach in my on my podcast, when I speak, when I'm coaching moms one-on-one, is how important it is for every household and every family to have core values. Those core values are your guiding system. They're like your north star for your decisions that you need to make in your home, from how you spend your money to how you create friendships to what movie you're going to watch or how you're even going to handle disagreements, right? Like there's all kinds of practical ways in which your core values are what will bring you a sense of here's the line or the standard for our operating in our home. And I have found that we have our core values. We have our three core values. I encourage everybody to have three. and everybody knows them. But it's one thing to choose those core values, it's another thing to live them in the different moments and the different seasons of life. And so, as 2020 has come along and it has brought so many surprises and unexpected things, what threw me off is that I stopped living true to my core values and I started living according to the circumstances. I started living according to what was happening around me, and I felt like I was just constantly in reaction mode. I was just reacting to what's happening. Oh gosh, here we go. Here's something else. And that alignment for me, as I got still and I was able to rein in those thoughts, was to say, hold on. God's already equipped us with a tool here. Like, we have these three core values. Now, what does it look like to live according to those three core values in the midst of 2020, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of healing from surgery, in the midst of taking this medication? Like, what does it look like right now?
And so, ladies in the audience, the question is, what are the things or the values in your life that are most important to you? Susan says that we should have three core values. And Susan, for those who aren't as who don't understand core values, can
Mhm.
can you explain what those are briefly? So,
Absolutely.
and if they've never done the exercise before, where they can do it at?
Mhm. Yes. Okay. So, core values, I like to think of them as you're going into the gym for the first time in a long time, and the trainer is saying, all right, you want to get fit. Yes. You want to feel better. I want to be more flexible and I want to have more stamina and I want to sleep better, whatever your goals are around your health. And the trainer at the gym is going to help you. Well, usually one of the first things that trainers work on is your core muscles. Like they say, if you can get your core muscles right, then we can get almost everything else right in the body. But if the core of your body is off, then the rest of your body suffers because that core is your sustainer. Your core is what holds it all together. And I'm just encouraging families that instead of creating a list of family rules that, can get long, especially if you've got creative kids, right? That instead we rest on core values and let those core values guide us and really be a place that our family attaches where we're going and the purpose of our family.
And this is so, so, so good because, as you said, we try to get our behavior in our families and even ourselves. We try to create rules thinking that that will fix our behavior when it's actually our values. What's most important to us,
Mhm.
that's how we live. So, Amy Dossie said that for her, truth is a core value. Uh, for me, I know when I think about my core values, one of them is simplicity. One of my
Mm,
core values
mm,
is is to encourage others. Another core value is personal wellness. And
mm,
so I have five core values. Those are three. And I discovered that those are the what drive my decisions.
mhm.
And we have to be honest about our core values. And so we're a little over on time, but I want you to step into this a little bit more. And ladies, for those who've been involved this evening, Susan's going to give away a set of her intentional parenting cards. So if you've been involved in the chat this evening, we actually are choosing a winner from who's been most engaging in the chat. So we'll have that for a moment. But Susan, talk about your family values real quick and
Mhm.
why those are important for your family.
Okay. Our family's three core values are faith, love, and respect. And those are important to us because it was just more so recognizing our patterns. And I recognized that my hubby and I would tend to get upset when we felt like we were disrespected, or we felt like our children weren't loving one another, or if we hadn't really stayed connected to our faith and we wandered away from that in some way. So I were able to identify by observing ourselves, getting real curious about ourselves, that these three really come down to the core of who we are and how we want to live day to day.
Beautiful. And so for if you're listening out there, first at Susan's Mentor for Moms podcast at susansea.com. And Tabitha, if you can put that banner up. Friends, Susan has a series of podcasts about choosing your family values. That
Mhm,
is step that we want to recommend to you. I want you
mhm,
to listen as Susan on the podcast walks you through the process. I've
Mhm.
listened to those podcast episodes. They will help you sit down with your family and have a meaningful discussion, not you just showing up and saying, these are our family values. You're going to live this way. But I want you to go listen to the podcast and choose the family values so that it can be this way to get everybody in your family on the same page about how you're going to live. Now, Susan, you also have the intentional parenting cards, because
Mhm.
after a mom chooses her values, how
Mhm.
do those intentional cards help a mom in this skill of motherhood?
Oh, yeah. So thank you for saying it's a skill. Like motherhood is a set of skills. Like we're developing those and working on those, just like people do in professional development. So the cards are a really great tool. I hear from moms all the time how much they enjoy using them. And so that they come in two parts. So one part has simple ideas that will help you to be more intentional in your life. If you desire that, but you're not sure how to do it, you could pull a card and do what's on the card. Simple, easy to execute. You don't need special tools or a whole lot of time. Like on the spot, pull it and go. The other set are questions for you to ask your kids so that you and your children can have heart to heart conversations. This will take you beyond how was your day? How are things going? How's your friend going? How's your friend? How is your friend? Right? And they all you get, they're fine, good, everything's okay. And you want more than that. These questions will help you do that.
Beautiful. Well, friends, you are going to be able to, if you've been a part of the podcast or this episode, we have been watching for engagement. And so my fabulous producer, Tabitha, she has the winner for us. And so she's going to pop the winner up on the screen. And if you didn't win the cards, that's okay, because Susan, you have the cards available. So tell the audience how they can order their own set of intentional parenting cards.
Absolutely. You can go to my website, susansea.com/shop. And there you can click to order, and it will be packed by me and my crew, my packing crew, which would be my kids. And we will pack them and ship them directly to you. It would be our honor to do so. And I really hope that you would take me up on that and get that card set, because it's more than a sales pitch for me. It's really putting a tool in your hands to equip you to be more intentional with your family.
Beautiful. Well, tonight's winner of the cards is Amy Dossie. And so, Amy, please send me an email, and so that I can forward your address to Susan. And you guys are both in Texas. She can mail. And actually, it's so funny. Amy Dossie's in Fort Worth. So,
Yay!
you can win. And then everyone else, please go to susansea.com. Go ahead and check out the podcast. I want you, friends, because I love you and I care about us getting better together. I want you to go and listen to Susan's podcast episodes on how to choose your family values. This
Mhm.
is going to be time well spent for you. Even if you don't do it now,
Mhm.
you're going to have this information. But I believe it's been a tough year in 2020. If you want to reclaim center and
Mhm.
get yourself back, instead of responding to crisis, that you will be prepared for crisis, reclaim center by
Mhm.
recalibrating with your values. Susan, thank you for stopping by tonight to encourage us, to just
Yes.
to us, and to give us some practical next steps.
Yes, and as a practical next step to help you out, because there's lots of episodes over there. Episode 4 and episode 5 will get you started on your core values.
Wonderful. Well, everybody who's joined this evening, again, if you're watching live, I'm so glad that you've joined us, and great hearing from you in the comments. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for creating space for the Better Together Facebook Live. New episodes are every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we also have all of the past episodes at barbruce.com on the blog page. Friends, thank you for joining us this week. I'm so glad that you were a part of the discussion. We'll see you next week.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.